Could you explain the title of your show? It's a bit depressing in these times.
It's a little bit depressive because I think the life of artists somehow is to be fighting with these emotions we have from our youth. I think the artist is an individual that is feeling the emotion, of course, much more than other people, or creative people is feeling these emotions stronger than other people, and they learn to manage them. No? What we do is analyze all those tensions around us, and with our filter, we try to express this tension or this level of what is happening outside us with our works. No? And after a while, you realize it's difficult to change that. You can put the balance of everything, but it's a little bit more difficult to be able to make the others take decisions. When I was studying in Barcelona University of Arts, I started to develop this technique. In that time, the meaning was related to the skin and the holes to separate the inside and the outside, something that is still in my works. But nowadays, it's talking more about action. Of course, between the beginning and now, appear the figurative in my work, and now mix it again with this abstract and giving the sensation of materiality because of this three-dimensional appearance that is in my papers. Is talking about this need of actions we have in front of us to realize something is really happening. When I started Barcelona University, I was not coming from a previous preparation of art. I was doing mathematics and physics. So for me, entering arts was very hard. I had to study a lot about artists and materials. So the idea was that I was trying to be strong and demonstrate I was strong like men. But then I discovered that you have to be strong enough to be yourself and to express your femininity if it's necessary, and the strength in the other way, you know? So that's why appeared this obsession with the holes to express all the stories I have to do, but with the strength of the emotions that I want to give and to transmit.
The paper, the newer works, they become a kind of a relief when you, through processing. How exactly does that work? Do you use anything else except the needle, or?
It's a big evolution of time. I mean, when I started to do my first works, it's more than 20 years ago. At the beginning, they were flat. Only the detail of the drawing was there. And with the time, they evolved, of course, with the elements I'm using to create my metaphors, but also with this ability of creating more volume. Not only because I have been changing the papers, but my ability, no? The direction of the needle, the humidity I have to put sometimes to break the hole and absorb this water, and control. For me, it's like building a cathedral, no? With this direction. I have been trying to, of course, we all need assistance sometimes for big sculptures or video installations, but for the papers it's totally impossible. No? I think it's very difficult to find someone that is able to do this, what it took me so long.
So you don't use many colors looking at your artworks. Could you explain why?
I think it's a kind of question of tradition in Mallorca, because we don't paint the doors, we put oil. I mean, we appreciate very much the noble materials. And when you take a look to the artists that somehow are known in Mallorca, you can realize the colors they use are very natural, no? The blue color of the sea, the brown from the trees, even the black of the trees have been burned. So I am in that colors, and probably is that why. Some people asked me sometimes why I use so much flies, and what gives me the tension instead of a red color probably will be a fly, because it's reminding me something that is giving me this tension that I need to create the whole composition.
So you do not commit to a special material, because you have paper, you have epoxy, you have sculptures, you're working with digital art, NFTs. Do you have a favorite material at least, or?
Yeah, my favorite material is paper, because it's my origins. Sometimes you think you have to evolve to direction, and it means you have to put away this kind of the beginnings, no, of your career. But for me it's impossible to stop working with paper, also because I realized they still evolve, even if it's 1 more millimeter of dimension, no, in these three-dimensional abilities. Now, for example, I start to work with the best museum of paper in Mallorca, in Spain, that is in Barcelona. And we are working with molds, perforating molds, where we put the handmade paper to create the same volume of the small works in big. We presented in Arco last week, and we see that there is a lot of things to do to continue evolving, or a lot of possibilities, a lot of doors opening to continue investigating.
But paper is limited, right? Because paper is, for your artworks, you have more boundaries.
Yes, the problem I had with the paper in a special moment of my career is that when I wanted to give more concept to the artwork I wanted to do, I need a lot of dimension. That's why I started to work with fiberglass, and I did the first big fiberglass installation was for the Contemporary Art Museum of Rome. It was the lifeguard, like the one we have here, but 4 meters big, yeah. And it was hanging above the people walking down, just to create this tension, no? I always try to make the people feel more, because it seems that we are not feeling, no? We are used to see everything fast, no? Our finger is easy to move the screen, so we don't have time enough to react properly to what we see, no? It's like all the exhibition is an investigation about how we are perceiving nowadays the images and why we don't react, why we have to do to make people react to what we see, all those disasters around the world, no?
Concerning your work as a teacher, you're a teacher now for 20 years. How has art changed since your own student days, then?
Yeah, it's more than 20 years being professor in Barcelona University, and what I see is what I tell to my students also. That is, our university is more to learn about you in this life. You communicate with people like you, that makes you strong. And what I see nowadays in my career is that I am strong enough to do whatever I want without being afraid, no? Without thinking all the time if is that correct or not, to continue with that line or to experiment with this other line. I do whatever I want and I realize that everything is talking finally about the same.
Growing up in Mallorca, when did you know you wanted to be an artist? How was that point?
There are a lot of anecdotes in my life that explain that I was interested in art or creativity. I repeat this very much because I think that what we do is to solve problems, no? Even if it's with color or materials. When I was young, I was always trying to investigate of materials and the resistance of things, destroying even objects of my parents in my experiments to understand. No? As I said before, when I had to take the decision what to study in the university, I really had to struggle a lot with myself, but finally I decided arts, and I'm very happy, of course. Living in Mallorca means that, of course, we have a special tradition, very familiar, that is what is giving us the strength, but also means that we are an island and we learn very soon that we have to travel a lot. And somehow this is good, no? You connect very fast with the other world, but then you realize after those long trips that you want to go back to Mallorca, no? This is it.